and the Lower Manhattan Committee on Wednesday at 1 p.m. The topic will be moving the terror trial from New York City. We all heard last night that President Obama is still considering New York City as a location for this terror trial. That original decision was made without input from our New York senators. They supported that decision without input from our mayor and our police commissioner. This hearing will finally be a chance for the people of New York City to have some input and be heard. Now, I happen to personally believe, and I have since day one and have not wavered, that giving a terrorist a criminal trial in Manhattan was wrong from day one. I believe it ranks up there as a military decision with a land invasion of Russia when it comes to wrong-headed military decisions by a commander-in-chief. I'm proud now to have the support of many other, perhaps all of our other elected officials. But as I said, this is a chance for New York City to be heard on this very important topic. As I said also, this is a joint hearing with the Lower Manhattan Committee also. New York City will be forced to bear burdens, increased risks, increased costs, increase in congestion, you name it, we're forced to bear it with no help from the federal government right now. That is completely unacceptable. From day one, if anyone supported this decision, it should have come with, I'll support it if you pay for it. A little late now to be saying, we want the money. This hearing will hash out all of those topics. And I'm proud to be able to co-chair that hearing with Margaret, one of our newest council members, and I'd like to introduce her now.
Thank you. I'm glad that we are having this joint meeting on Wednesday. The community, the residents, the small businesses surrounding the federal courthouse have been yelling at the top of their lungs to tell the government that not here, this is not an appropriate place to have it. Ward Street right here, you see this street is the major thoroughfare connecting east and west. This street will be blocked off and closed down when they do the trial. See how close the courthouse is to residential building and to playgrounds where children will be there? This is not the most appropriate place. So on Wednesday at this hearing, the community will have another opportunity to lay out why they are saying that this is not the most appropriate place. We have to put a human face to this, that the disruption and the stress that's going to be put on Lower Manhattan and New York City residents is tremendous. We're still trying to rebuild from 9/11. We cannot allow people to have to suffer, to have to go through checkpoint every day just to go home, or businesses will close down because of this. We got to let the president know that this is not the appropriate place. Don't have the trials in New York or in Lower Manhattan. Thank you.
Councilmember Vincent Gentile has introduced a resolution that I have co-sponsored calling on this trial to be moved from this location that you see behind us, and I'd like to ask Councilmember to speak.
Thank you, Councilmember Vallone and Councilwoman Chen. Our concern and our position is embodied in resolution number 6 in the City Council, which we introduced last week in the Council. And that resolution, first and foremost, says that as a body, the City Council, we are asking and joining with other elected officials to say that this trial should be moved out of New York City for the reasons that you've heard here today, that it is wrong for it to be in New York City. It is wrong from a security standpoint. It is wrong from a quality of life standpoint. It is wrong for many reasons, and that's what this resolution first and foremost says. However, it also says that should the federal government persist in putting the trial here, then they must, it's our position that they must fully fund this trial, which estimates have indicated would be close to $1 billion over a 5-year period if the trial lasts as long as they predict. So that is a steep financial burden to New York City that we shouldn't have to bear. So that this resolution talks about those both issues. Move it out of here, and if it's not moved out, then make a commitment to fully fund it. The resolution is co-sponsored by Councilmember Chin, Councilmember Vallone, Councilmember Nelson, and many other co-sponsors, and we're looking forward to have this moved so the City Council as a whole can take a position and join the other electeds in our city.
So I have a question. Oh,
yeah, we kept it short because you were so cold. So we'll take some questions now. Yeah.
Do you have any legal authority other than saying the council is behind this? What do you do with that? I mean, where does that go?
We have the same legal authority that the people who put the trial here have. We have the opportunity to be heard on Wednesday. We are going to speak, I think, as one. This also gives a chance for people who think we should have the trial here to come down and make that argument and be cross-examined by the people you see here.
But do you take it as a recommendation? Do you send it to the president or the attorney general? You know.
Well, we have invited our senators to testify. We've invited the administration to send the police commissioner, to send the OEM commissioner. We will have the community board that represents this neighborhood. We'll have local community groups testifying. You know, my personal opinion, it should not be held here. Let's hear what everyone else believes. This is the first chance for them to come to a public forum in front of the public and be heard.
Do you want it out of Manhattan entirely, or just out of this neighborhood, or just out of this building?
Well, it's my personal position that they deserve a military tribunal in Guantanamo. Anyone who believes that a terrorist, a foreign terrorist, deserves the rights of a U.S. citizen and taxpayer-funded attorneys, they've got to find another location. I believe it should be held in military base in Guantanamo. Failing that, it should not be in New York City or any place that there's going to be huge increased risks and costs.
Are you surprised that the mayor initially embraced this idea and then started to backpedal on it?
I opposed this 3 seconds after it was announced, and it took me 2 seconds to get over the shock of how wrong-headed this decision was. So yes, I was very surprised that other elected officials did not oppose this, and I'm very happy that they have now weighed the circumstances and the ramifications of that decision and have decided to oppose this.
Peter, in 1993, the trial for the Sheikh was held here and wasn't much of this fast. What's the difference between 1993, when the federal trial was held in here, and now?
I think there's huge differences in the amount of risk that we face now and the amount of cost that we face now. 1993 was a different time than we're in right now. We're at war right now. We didn't realize we were at war back then, but now we do. And this is the wrong place to hold a political show trial. We need to protect the residents of New York City from increased risks, increased costs, increased burdens. We don't need to have a political show trial here in Manhattan.
And just to mention, in response to your question, the resolution asks for it to be outside of New York City, not just outside this area.
Outside New York City.
Outside New York City.
Well, what would it take for the president or the attorney general to change his mind? You know, what else can you present to them as maybe a face-saving measure?
Right, so the way this decision was made was wrong from day one. They made it without input from our senators. Our senators supported it without input from our police commissioner, from our mayor, from any of the local elected officials. And we're happy now that the president has decided to fix the process and actually hear from people who are affected by this. And this is how we're giving them an opportunity to be heard.